Let me finish talking.
All right, man.
You asked me.
Are we done? Because I'm not gonna sit here and listen to
Yo.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Little Black Book. You already know what time it is, baby. We're going to give you guys a review of Love Goals Episode 2. We're going to talk about Benzino, Althea. In this particular episode, watch out for also our Dwayne and Theresa thread as well. But we're going to break down, obviously, just Althea and Benzino, because I think it was quite an intense episode for them as well. So, hey, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click that bell button for a notification of the upload, baby. And for those of you who are returnees, you ain't got the what? Minerals, baby. You ain't got the minerals, baby. Listen, you ain't got the minerals. Yes, sir. Make sure you get your top as well from down below. Alright, so cool. With the Althea and Benzino, I just want to kind of just say this. Look, it's evident these two like each other, and there is love there. Yeah. Now, what I think from both of these people is that the toxicity of love is from a place of not knowing what love is. Yeah. From Althea's perspective, she mentioned to the group chat, to the girls in a group conversation, that, you know what, she felt like she's always been with powerful men and they've always controlled her, right? So she's always feeling like she's always been in a controlling, manipulative type of relationship. That's a toxicity. That's letting me know that I don't think you really know what the true form of love is, that you know how to receive it and give it, right? And the same with Benzino. We had a very lengthy one-on-one chat with Spirit, and we found out, just as I was saying, that, you know what, he has gone through so many traumatic events, and the way his upbringing in terms of his family, in terms of his father and his mother, there was a lack of, I guess, not say love, but there's a lack of receiving this love in the way that he would want it and understood it, right? So they've both come from backgrounds where from backgrounds where they are having a distorted image of what love was, which is what I thought it was, because they clearly like each other, they're clearly attracted to each other. It's just that they can't seem to connect on something. And where they're missing each other is that both of them are issuing their type of love, but it's not being received, because I'm guessing that they have two different love languages. This is so important and so key, as well as obviously having a distorted image of love, because when your image of love is distorted, you tend to make do and make shift. And when someone rebukes that or refuses that, or, you know, there's a knock, even, you know, like the person's doesn't receive it the way you want it to, then what happens is there's an immediate self-defense response. Yeah. And with Althea especially, I just get this impression that, you know what, we've been here and done that before. And it's like, Althea, like, I know that I heard that she was on Anyala, and she was, you know, also being obtuse and deliberately not trying to be transparent about certain things. My thing with Althea is this: she got broken down, yeah, in the Ask Me 3.
amazing at real estate, and and that's nothing that I ever did. She's loyal.
Thank you.
Things, and we'll come on to that in a second. But she showed a vulnerable side then. But what's interesting is that before we got to that point, we had a conversation with Benzino and Althea. I want you to pay attention here. Immediately, I always say this: look, when you sit on a couch, when you're a couple, the way that you sit often lets us know how comfortable you are physically with one another, yeah? And it can often also donate how you are emotionally close to each other is, yeah? Because when you feel emotionally off, you tend not to try and sit next to each other physically. When you physically can't really be in each other's space, you tend to separate physically, and that can then be an indication that emotionally something's not correct. When we see these people on the opposite ends of the chair, Althea at first got her feet in the chair, later on she comes out and she sits her legs down, right? But all through the while, they keep their considerable distances to each armrest. Comparing that to other couples such as Sunday and Brion, you see that they're very, very close. You see another couple who's also distant as well, which is surprising. But it's like I said, sometimes you look at the outside and you think everything's crisp. When you look at Dwayne and Theresa, you see that they're sitting on opposite sides of the chair. Now, she would sit next to him if he fixes up. Until then, she's going to sit on her side of the bench. And also as well, if you see even Dee and Q, if you look at the way Dee is sitting, Dee in the group conversation is sitting away from Q, right? Her body's away from him, and even her left leg overlaps her right leg, which means that her leg is actually facing away from Q. Why is that? Intimacy problems. But once she has the conversation with Spirit, look what she does. She closes the gap. She comes and puts her arm on his leg and closes the gap. This is very, very important, because when people are making reconciliations, when people are forgiving, when people are letting things go, physically, because emotionally they've made up, they can now make up physically. Now with Althea and Benzino, we don't get that. We get a consistent your side, my side, right? And throughout the conversation, when we first hit the hair, there are things that are exchanged. One thing I picked up was that when Spirit was kind of talking to Althea to express her emotions, how are you feeling? Althea on several occasions digressed from the feelings to tell us how Benzino has what he has done.
Tell me, what's the feeling? I want you to touch it.
You know, we function when we just communicate through email, through text.
So she didn't deal with the feelings. And actually, Spirit picked up on this twice on a couple of occasions where she said, listen, I'm talking about your feelings. And Althea couldn't let go what he had done. Here's why she couldn't. And Spirit mentioned it. One, it is self-defense. She's got the blame game, right? But two, also, it is her way of justifying her own actions. Yeah? So the actions that Althea has taken, the self-defense actions that she feels she has taken, in order to justify it, she has to rectify it by stating what Benzino has done. Like Spirit said, if she decides to go into her own personal feelings as to why she's acting the way she's acting, she gets broken. And if she gets broken, it means being vulnerable. If you're being vulnerable, it means that you can take advantage of me. And I've been there so many times, I'm not going to let you take advantage of me. So no, I'm not going to answer the question about feelings. I hear you. I know what you're talking about. I just refuse to answer about feelings, because if I answer it, it means being vulnerable. It means opening myself up. It means allowing you to see the weaknesses of me and how I truly feel. And that can be thrown back in my face. I refuse to let you go there. Althea's problem is control. And actually, Spirit mentioned this as well during a conversation where she said, listen, you know, you're breathing. She was back breathing breathing like that, yeah? And the reason why she was doing that, as Spirit mentioned also, was control. And I've told you guys about this. In relationships, oftentimes it's about power and control. And when we feel like we haven't got enough power in the relationship, we try to exert it, or we try to claim it. When we feel like we're losing control, we try to gain it, yeah? Or we try to rob it of the other person by controlling them. And so what we're seeing from Althea here is to control her, to control the narrative in the relationship, to have her sanity. For her, she needs to be able to control her emotions and deliver emotions that she feels is comfortable to deliver, which doesn't allow any weakness, which is what? Wrath and anger. And actually, wrath and anger is our weakest type of emotion we can show. Why? Because there's no wrath and anger is not wrath and anger on its own. It is seated in something. It is seated in disappointment. It is seated in broken expectation. It is seated in pain. It's seated in hurt. So anger comes out of these things. Do you see what I'm saying? So when you're showing that anger as a form of self-defense, actually what you're showing is I'm too vulnerable to show you my true emotion. And many of us do this. You know, I get angry about a situation. I'm not angry, I'm hurt. And actually, there's something that one of my colleagues was saying to me, we were bringing a joke where I said, I'm not angry, I'm disappointed. And actually, when I started to really deep this phrase, it makes a whole lot of sense. I'm not angry, but what I'm showing is anger because I'm not sure how to show you that I'm hurt. Do you see? And so often when I saw that with Althea, I was like, okay, cool. So we have a person who's struggling to release the control mechanisms. She's struggling to release the hold. And you see, when you've always been strong, I'm just going to say, you know, black women go through this a lot, but specifically with Althea, when you feel like you've always had to fight your corner, what happens is you slowly start to build up solid concrete blocks over your emotions and your heart, right? And these concrete walls of blocks that you've built are there to defend you and protect you from any oncoming arrows, bombs, threats, gunshots, anything like that, right? And that makes you tigerish. Because as soon as you feel like someone's encroaching on the castle walls, what does somebody who has a castle do when the people are encroaching on the wall? They start firing straight away back. I'm going to get you before you get me. And this is where Althea is. And I told you guys, I said, listen, those making the most noise in this relationship thing, they've got probably the most chance of rectifying it. Reason being because they're voicing something at least. Do you understand? They're not pretending everything's perfect. Fam, they don't like each other. So that was very, very important, very, very key to see from Althea's perspective.
Let me finish talking.
All right, man.
You asked
Are we
me.
done? Because I'm not gonna sit here.
Ooh, man. Yo.
And then they got to a point, and I see that obviously Benzino, you know, and I have sympathy for Benzino in this particular episode, because when Althea was explaining something and he was talking, she cut him off. Then when she started talking and he tried to reply, albeit it would have been an argument anyway, but still, he tried to reply. She said, "Don't cut me off." Da, 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 da. Again, she's starting to fire before anything's coming her way, right? And the reason again is that she's catty. She's catty because the walls. She's got a mentality now is I can't let no one take advantage of me. I can't let nobody get one up on me. Yeah, and this comes from a place of pride, which comes from a place of what? Pain. Yeah, because pride is also seated in something. The reason why you're prideful is oftentimes because you feel like, sometimes people say that pride is obviously self-righteousness, but I often see when people have pride is because they're fearful of something happening to them. They're fearful of this reputation. They're fearful of someone saying this ill against their name. They're fearful of this. It's always from a place of fear, pride, right? And so what we're seeing from Althea is this pride that she wants to nuke Benzino, right? And so she keeps mentioning about the fact that, you know, my respect. And when I started thinking, I said, what is she actually saying? And actually she was telling us what she needed. What she needed from Benzino was respect. And in what format? Words. The way that he says something. And I said this in the first episode. In the very first episode, when he was dealing with her, I was concerned. I said, how does he deal with Althea by saying she did at real estate, you know, you're coming at her on different angles, saying this, that. And what does that do to the individual? Now, I'm not saying that she's innocent, because we're going to come on to her as well. I'm just breaking it down as to where she got this mindset from, right?
It's too much. I've been locked up twice. I be wanting to like explode.
And where she's got this defensiveness from in this particular relationship. So a lot of that stuff that they're facing at the moment, you know, as Spirit said, you know, it's not you two that are a problem. Your problems are the problem. You're unable to deal with those problems. And so when I see Benzino dealing with Althea, I mean, I have so much sympathy with him because, like I said, she interrupted him, and then what I saw was a person who switches from vulnerability and refuses to be vulnerable and channels that energy into aggression. And the problem with aggression here is that she's unable to control her aggression. To the point where she said, ooh, and had to get up, you know, and that's why you're going to jail. You are not going to jail because Benzino's reported you. You're going to jail because your behavior, Althea, is unacceptable. You're unable to control the channeling of your energy from vulnerability, self-defense, into aggression. Your aggression is too damn much. Right? And the part of her revels in this energy that she has, right? Because, like I said, this energy gives her power to do what? To keep others at bay. You know when girls say, I'm that crazy bitch, I'm that crazy B, I'm that crazy B. What they're actually saying is, I'm channeling energy into this area because nobody can, I don't want no one to test me. You understand? And when people don't test her, they feel happy. Why? Because they've warded off the competition. And so what happens is then is this toxic cycle of showing out, right? To keep others at bay, to show them that you're the bad B. But actually what you're doing is actually causing more pain for yourself because you're not dealing with the actual issue which is within you. And so I have so much sympathy with Benzino. To deal with a woman like that, brother, it's hard work, cuz. Yeah? It's hard freaking work. Because every hill, you'll be fighting this person every step of the way. Because there's a lot of insecurity within them. Partly what he's played into it. But there's a lot of insecurity in them that they're now launching onto you. Right? And so when I saw when I saw Althea get up, you know, and said, oh my god, you're cutting across me. And I was like, bloody, you cut across once. And not only that, fam, you were cutting across him a few times before that. There was no need for this response for you to get up, go out. See, part of that is acting. If I'm honest with you, part of it's acting. And I'm not saying a person is an actor. What I'm saying to you is that the person revels Remember, it's about power and control. The person revels in an audience. They revel in the audience. Why? Because it's like, I'm that bad B, right? Because you have to get your power from somewhere, right? Because you're lacking it within you. And so this outward show of, oh, I would get you, she does that, number one, because this guy is not going to do the same thing to her. You have to understand something. It's a bit like when you see a video with a baby crying and a dad crying, and the dad starts whinging as much as the baby does, and the baby stops crying and goes, what the frick you got? What you doing, Dad? Why are you crying like that? I'm meant to be crying. I'm the baby, not you. Why? The baby realizes now it's been outdone. And so when you see someone like Althea, if she meets another guy who also gets aggressive to that point, she'll be fearful. She'll stop doing what she's doing. She'll become an absolute victim. And the reason why is because you start to realize that the power doesn't lie in you getting aggressive. The reason why she's getting aggressive so much, to the point where she's able to hit Benzino, is because she knows the same won't be done to her back. So she's taking advantage of this moment to gain her power. Now, is this right? No, absolutely wrong. And this is what happens in relationships when you are not honest with yourself and not able to self-reflect within you. You then start to take advantage of scenarios and situations. We do it all. Now, all of us do it. Some of us don't do it in an aggressive manner as Althea do it. Some of us do it in the way that we talk to our partners. Yeah, men and females. Some of us talk to our partners like trash. Some of us say some words to provoke and trigger them just because we know we can get away with it. Right? Some of us will do things intentionally to rile the other person up because we know we can get away with it. Right? And so when you know you can't get away with it, you don't do it no more. Why? Because you know that it's going to cause something that you cannot comprehend, or you cannot fight, or you cannot control. So, because there's no power in that. Right? So the solution for Althea is to actually break this woman down to the point where she gets to the point where she's vulnerable. And she will get there. You understand? Trust me.
She sits there and snicker and laugh all the time. It's the same. She knows what she's doing.
The reason why I was saying that Althea likes an audience, because when she left and she came back, she sat on the sofa, she had a smirk on her face. Right? These toxicities, you know, I know some people don't understand these things, but I used to be a guy that used to love a girl that had a bit of bite about her, that had a bit of aggression about her, that liked to argue. I like that type of girl. You understand? Because what that was for me, again, I'm going to link this back to the original point I made in the beginning, which was that these two do not know authentic love. And this is why they operate in these lanes. Althea came back, sat down, was smiling, and I just deep down, I was like, okay, cool. Why is she smiling? Again, this toxicity, she loves it. You know when they were asking the first episode, why are you still here? She's still here because the toxicity is beautiful. The toxicity is what she lives by and breathes by. Both of them. Yeah? They like this toxicity. Why? Because this love that we know involves ups and downs. So many of them. This love that we know involves the roller coaster effect. The ups, the highs, and the lows. We don't know anything else. And if you don't know anything else, you go by what you know. And so with Althea, this smirk that she had in her face was all about the fact that she has this toxic love. This guy still loves her and still around. She still loves him and still around. Listen, I know they got kids together, but trust me, they still want to be around each other. You understand? They just, at this moment, it's a bit tight to be. Do you know what I mean? But when you listen to Althea, she said, oh, you know, I'm convinced that, you know, we still kind of love each other. When she said that, I said, okay, cool. So she knows that she loves him still. It's just the way they're operating in this love. They don't understand what authentic love is. They don't understand. So the question we need to ask Althea is, do you know what love is? This is why they asked Benzino. He didn't know. So Althea, do you know what love is? Someone can quote to you all the things, love is patient, kind, but do you know what it looks like? Show me what it looks like. Tell me how you've experienced this type of love. Who has shown you this type of love? And you start to realize how important it is to witness, to be embraced by this type of love. Right? And so as Christians, we talk about, you know, this authentic, unconditional love. Because at the end of the day, not even your partner is unconditional in their love. You know what I mean? So everybody needs that unconditional, safe type of love. You know, when Spirit came and sat down next to Benzino and had a conversation with him about mentioning 3 things they both were saying, I think it was so beautiful because it was, all the energy was so negative at that point, to the point where even people in the room were looking at it like, yo, what's going on, cuz? And when she asked him to say 3 positive things, it's so amazing, because when you have to think in a positive manner about an individual person, you know, there's a saying that we used to have as Christians, which is, if I pray for you, I can't hate you. You know, the more that I pray for you, I can't hate you. The more that I pray for you,